Welcome to the Cricket Happening Show with your host Ram today. And in this part of the cricket show, we are going to look at the 4 days play in the final Test match, which is happening between England and New Zealand. And let me tell you, New Zealand are looking forward to their rarest Test win against England. The last time that this thing happened, where New Zealand actually beat England in their hometown, was in 1983-84. So they're almost close to that. In fact, for England, it's a very uphill task. They require almost 431 runs more to actually to win the match. Well, it looks a very far off task, with Alistair Cook also sent back to the pavilion just before close of play yesterday. That was a very important wicket for New Zealand, and right now they are left with Ian Bell and Root. So they are 90 for 4, but 431 runs more to get on the final day. And well, the target that was set for England was 481 by Brendan McCullum. Let's talk about that particular day, on the 4th day, how things really panned out there at Eden Park in Auckland. Well, New Zealand resumed at the overnight score with Peter Fulton and Dean Brownlee at the crease, but Dean Brownlee was an early victim as he was sent back to the pavilion. Yes, he definitely made a contribution, but all the scoring was actually being done by Peter Fulton. Dean Brownlee was sent to the pavilion by Panesar, as Panesar actually bowled 4 overs and 4 maidens, and Dean Brownlee was caught bell bowled Panesar for 28 with 4 fours, and that made this New Zealand score 82 for 4. But after that, what followed was absolutely quicksilver batting from Peter Fulton and Brendan McCullum. Brendan McCullum went on in his but let me talk about Peter Fulton. Now what Peter Fulton has done is he contributed another century. So he has become the I mean, what a match for Peter Fulton. Peter Fulton came there, didn't have a good test average at all. Coming back after a gap of 4 years, he has done himself a world of good. At the age of 34, first he got his maiden century in the first innings, and now he went on yesterday to make his second consecutive century in both the innings, and joining such famed names of New Zealand. There are only 3 persons in New Zealand's cricket history, Test cricket history, who have actually got like consecutive centuries, in the sense centuries in both the innings of a particular Test match. The first one being Glenn Turner, the great Glenn Turner, and then Geoff, one of those intelligent captains from New Zealand once upon a time, and Andrew Jones, who actually was the last man to actually get two centuries in an innings of a Test, and that was back in 1991 when Andrew Jones did that against Sri Lanka. But today Peter Fulton actually joined that famed group, but in doing so, what one could see was Peter Fulton was not even bothered about his particular landmarks. He was just he wanted New Zealand to put up a good target for England, and that's what he precisely did. His contribution was 110 runs of 165 balls, 14 fours and 5 sixes. Let me talk about those 5 sixes. One is what one saw about Peter Fulton's batting. We know that he's a very good blocker. He could play the leg side strokes well. But yesterday, what one saw about Peter Fulton was something absolutely brilliant. One could see that he was. I mean, if as I said in the first innings, 98 runs actually came off from the leg side. But today it was equal stuff. Whether it is from the offside or the leg side didn't matter. It was absolutely equal, and he was showing that he is a complete player. And the way he made those strokes, in fact, he hit Monty Panesar for 2 straight sixes. In fact, he actually, when Monty Panesar, when he came back after bowling 4 overs, he really went after him like anything, and really hit him for boundaries and sixes. And Peter Fulton also, what was very important about it, Peter Fulton, to reach his century, he actually slammed Stuart Broad over the straight over his head for a magnificent 6. And not only that, he really left all the England fielders stunned there, when he actually made room for himself and hit James Anderson over extra cover. It was over extra cover, but actually went over. In fact, he hit it over long off for a 6, and absolutely the English fielders were absolutely stunned by the stroke. And Peter Fulton, as I said, he showed his other side, and well, he has done himself a world of good. Not only that, he has also given New Zealand a chance to actually get a series win. Not only a series win, but also a win where the last time that New Zealand did this to England was in 83-84. So it's a pretty long gap, and today probably New Zealand will be making history by getting this win under the belt. They are absolutely close, and all thanks to Peter Fulton's innings of 110 of 165 balls with 14 fours and 5 sixes. And this partnership was it really grown to great lengths. In fact, that was the reason Brendan McCullum, the New Zealand captain, could actually afford the declaration. And Brendan McCullum, captain himself, thrashed 67 of just 53 balls, 5 fours and 3 sixes. He also went after after Monty Panesar and the other bowlers. He already put them into the pickets and over the pickets by making an unbeaten 67 of 53 balls with 5 fours and 3 sixes. And this was a partnership, exhilarating partnership actually. 82 for 4 at one stage when Brownlee departed. The score swelled to 199, and that too probably in 16 overs. This partnership, 16.1 overs probably, or 16.4 overs, this partnership was worth 117 runs. A real I would say a thorn for England here, and they really had to pay for it. And Brendan McCullum had an unbeaten 67 of 53 balls with 5 fours and 3 sixes. Peter Fulton was dismissed by Finn for 110, and BJ Watling, when BJ Watling was dismissed with his individual score on 18 of the bowling of Panesar, it was all. McCullum actually brought down the curtain on this New Zealand innings by declaring the innings closed at 241 for 6 declared, and thus setting England a very, very big target of 481 runs to actually win the match. Let's look at the bowling figures of the Englishmen. James Anderson, everyone came for some taps. 17 overs, 6 minutes, 1 for 59. Broad, 17 overs, 5 maidens, 2 for 54. Stephen Finn, 13 overs, 1 maiden, 1 for 57. Monty Panesar, after bowling 4 overs for maiden, was absolutely manhandled by in this brilliant partnership between Peter Fulton and Brendan McCullum, which brought lots of quick runs for New Zealand, and a very valuable one at that. Monty Panesar, 9.2 overs, 4 maidens, 2 for 53. Jonathan Trott bowled 1 over for 4 runs. Let's look at the England reply. So England started off with their openers, and in fact England had early trouble as Nick Compton edged the ball from Saudi, which was going away from him. Watling took the catch behind the stumps, and Nick Compton was walking, and England were 2 for 1. After that, Alistair Cook, the captain, was there. So both of them, Jonathan Trott and Alistair Cook, were pretty watchful. They knew that occupation of the crease was something that they had to do if they had to stave off this defeat. So they really buckled themselves and tried to really play some percentage strokes. But well, it all happened with Jonathan Trott when his individual score was 37. Neil Wagner was not had a great game in this particular test match. Got one that swung away off the angle, and Watling behind the stumps took the catch of the edge of Jonathan Trott's bat, and Jonathan Trott was walking for 37 with 3 fours. That made the score 60 for 2. And after that, Ian Bell joined Alistair Cook, and everything seemed Alistair Cook and Ian Bell looked like they would be taking England to safety at close of play with only 2 wickets down. But that was the time the part-timer Kane Williamson with his right arm off spin struck. There is no excuses for Alistair Cook because this was a particular shot which should have not been played, and it was very surprising to Alistair to see the English captain Alistair Cook attempt such a stroke, and he ended up giving a catch to Brownlee of the bowling of Williamson for 43 with 4 fours, and that made the score 90 for 3. And at the same score, the ninth watchman was then Stephen Finn, who did very well in the previous test. Couldn't really repeat what he did before by actually falling a victim to once again to Kane Williamson, who got this wicket. He was caught by Saudi bowling of Williamson for a blob, and England finished the day at 90 for 4 with Ian Bell not out on 8. And well, looking at what England had, as I said, they are really struggling right now. 90 for 4. They have mountains of runs to get because the total that they have to get is 481 to actually win this test match and the series. And for England, they require, sorry, I said 400, I'm sorry about that. They require another 391 runs more to actually win this match. and definitely one can very safely say that this match definitely in New Zealand's grasp, and if at all England scored that, that would be one of those biggest test wins ever done in test history, because the record is held by West Indies, which they did against Australia. I don't really remember that. Probably 430 odd runs were scored by West Indies against Australia. That was way back in 2004. Just looking at what are the prospects now for England. One thing is that Ian Bell is there. He's an experienced player, so definitely Ian Bell, they would bank on Ian Bell. Joe Root, well, he has shown he's a technically proficient player, and he can really play the strokes, and he can really stay there at the crease. That's what he showed in India. Well, whether Joe Root can do that tomorrow for England, that is very important. It's very essential that Ian Bell and Joe Root take this score. They at least try to occupy the crease as much as possible, but again, it's going to be a very difficult task. It's the last day. There'll be a lot of footmarks, and there'll be a rough already created, and I'm sure the spinners, Bruce Martin will come into the picture for sure on the final day. Also one more thing is that the New Zealand bowlers are looking good. Trent Boult, Tim Southee, Neil Wagner are all amongst the wickets. They're all looking good. Jonathan Bairstow is the next to come. They have Matt Pryor, who has been pretty consistent and has been a very handy bat. And then they have Stuart Broad, the all-rounder. He has to really bring his batting really into the picture in this particular match. But what is very important for England would be not to go for the runs, because they have to really occupy the crease as much as possible, and hope that either rain or something comes and saves them. Otherwise, I think New Zealand are definitely going to walk away with the match. They're going to walk away with this rare series win against England at Eden Park in Auckland to win the series. I can only say we have a good game of cricket. New Zealand fans would be absolutely delighted to see that New Zealand actually put this across England on the final day. And what a way for the series to finish, with New Zealand actually clinching not only a test win, but clinching the series win on the last day of this test series. Oh, that would be absolutely splendid. As far as the bowling figures were concerned, Trent Boult, 11 overs, 5 maidens, none for 20. Tim Southee, 10 overs, 3 maidens, 1 for 24. Bruce Martin, 17 overs, 6 maidens, 1 for 35. Wagner, 8 overs, 6 maidens, 6 runs and 1 wicket, was very economical. Williamson, who actually dealt those very important blows by taking the wicket of Alistair Cook, the captain, and Stephen Finn, the night watchman, before the close of play. 6.1 overs, 4 maidens, 5 runs and 2 wickets. So we have a splendid game on hand coming up here in Eden Park in Auckland on the final day, and that will actually bring down the curtain on this test series. But whether New Zealand can really bring the curtain down in a sort of a very in a sort of a fine style by actually defeating England on the last day of this test series. So we will know all about it when the match starts here, and as usual, I'll be there with a full match report tomorrow on the proceedings which happened at the Eden Park in Auckland. I'm definitely I can safely say that New Zealand are definitely going to win this match, unless there is going to be a miraculous batting display by the Englishmen, especially Ian Bell and Joe Root, who would really try to grind the New Zealand bowling and see off the day. That would be absolutely marvellous. Can they do what South African players Faf du Plessis and AB de Villiers did against Australia in Australia? Well, if they can do that, that would be something that they would really go down in the history as one of those match-saving innings that England would have played. Well, as you know, cricket is a game of gross uncertainties. You never know. But anyway, I'm just pushing away from here. I'm just wanting to tell you the second one-day international between Sri Lanka and Bangladesh has been washed out because of rain. But let me tell you, the Sri Lankan openers really started off in a flash with Kushal Janit Perera. As you know, he holds the record for the first triple century in 75 years of cricket in Sri Lanka. He is the only person to score a triple century, and today it was as I said, this was the second one-day international. Kushal Janit Perera, he shows glimpses of Sanat Jayasuriya as a left-handed batsman and also a wicket-keeper batsman, and he scored a quick 18 runs. He's not out on 18 of 21 balls with 3 fours. Dilshan was not out on 10 of 9 balls with 1 4. Sri Lanka were 33 for all outs. 5 overs were gone, and play was called off because of heavy rain. So the second one-day international has been washed out. So Sri Lanka will still lead the series 1-0. Well, dear fans, friends and subscribers, hope you all liked my report here. Thanks for your company, and keep watching the Cricket Happening show. Your host Ram is always there to entertain you. That's it from me. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.